All right, good evening, everyone. It is now 5:32, and we want to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum present. We have 5 of the 9. Can everyone please stand and pledge the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We are going to approve the minutes from the Rec Commission of April 9th. We have a change. The city attorney said that whether or not you attended that meeting, you are eligible to vote to approve or disapprove. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can abstain. So whatever you're comfortable with, but there are no limitations any longer on voting on the minutes. So just wanted to make you aware. The minutes have been distributed to you. We have a quorum of those. Well, we have a quorum. It's all different. We have a quorum. And whether or not you attended the April 9th, 2024 Recreation Commission meeting, I would ask you please to vote.
I move to accept the minutes as written.
Oh, yes.
I move to approve the minutes as written from the April 9th, 2024 Recreation Commission meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second. Saha.
It has been moved by Commissioner Rand and seconded by Commissioner Saha that we approve the minutes as written from the April 9th, 2024 Recreation Commission meeting. I will now call for a vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Oh, excuse me, please vote, sorry. Please vote. I'm having a bad day.
Miss Dennis.
Sorry, vote passed. 5 said yes, 2 did not vote. That's only 2, that's 7. It passed. 5-0. The new business tonight is we're going to do the youth athletic banner policy. And Christine, you're going to present this? Do we have any, oh, wait, you go ahead and present and then we'll.
I was just going to present that I'm requesting the renewal of the banner policy for the athletic associations. And nothing has changed.
That's what I was going to say. In the packet, I didn't see any strike overs, but then I didn't know.
Nothing has changed. It seems to be going well.
Are there any questions?
Christine, could you just bring us up to speed as far as which different associations have leaned into this? What have the kind of outcomes been from the sales? Any controversy? Just any updates?
No controversy, which is a good thing. And as far as the associations that have really leaned into it, all of them have leaned into it, some more than others. Some of them have come up with a pricing structure for sponsors. Oh, sorry, I'm not on. Pricing structures for sponsors, and it's been very lucrative for them. From what I've seen driving around, unless I get feedback from somebody else, it seems like they've been really good about getting the proper banners, placing them properly, taking them down when the season's over. They're following the policy pretty well. So I've been happy with the outcome personally.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion for this item?
I move to approve the Youth Athletic Association banner policy for FY25.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Piedra Ida.
I still have the phonics.
Awesome, Dennis.
It has been moved by Commissioner Piedra Ita and seconded by Commissioner Rand that we approve the Youth Association banner policy for fiscal year 2025. I will now call for a vote. Please vote. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Union Hill Park Design and Parking Proposal. Director Rogers.
So, good evening, Recreation Commission. It's always a pleasure to be with y'all tonight. We are bringing forth a possible redesign of Union Hill Park. Union Hill Park, as you remember, was a skate park many years ago. It was closed, and we have revised the park, making use of the pavilion, and went through a design proposal to make, as you're looking at what I put on the screen, to the right of the covered arena where the additional parking is, that was going to be a gathering area, a playground for children. The greenway was actually going to go between the road and the play area. As the music venue and special event venue has started to take off, we realized that we needed more parking. So the idea of developing this more into just an event venue and a trailhead, as opposed to an event venue, a trailhead, and a small community park. So this concept was drawn so we could see how many parking spaces we could actually get out if we decided to do that. We would net 63 parking spaces if we do this. This particular, so we workshopped this at Mayor and Council a couple of weeks ago. Their comment, they had a few comments that were asking about money, and we'll get into that just a minute ago, but they did not see this design. The design they showed was just a sketch, and the sketch showed that we were only going to pick up 42 spaces. So actually we would realize 62 spaces if this is going ahead. So to tell you, right now, that was the idea, was we would have more parking for the trailhead and for the event venue, with the idea that the small playground wouldn't really be used much because the residents are within walking distance, all are in apartments, and they all have playgrounds already in their apartments. So that was the idea that was brought forward. The cost of the proposed park as drawn currently, that was approved, is $2.9 million. We have $2.5 million in our budget for Union Hill. So even if we move forward with the other one, we're going to have to do some cost reductions or value engineering. And this new design is estimated to be $2.3 million. So I'm bringing this to the commission just for comments before it goes back to Mayor and Council for either approval or disapproval.
Director Rogers, I have a few questions, please.
Sure.
Number one, I have consumed fun at Union Hill, both as a trailhead and as an event venue. Are we currently running into parking issues today?
Absolutely. When we have an event at the covered arena, we have parking issues.
Okay.
No, there's not an event that doesn't happen at the event venue that we don't need additional parking. Now, we have we've made a parking agreement with the company next door, and it's AK Teco. And they have about 100 spaces over there. And so they have told us, actually have an MOU with them that we can use that parking, and that helps, but we're still short on parking for the events.
Okay. And then my second question, for example, when our family goes on the Greenway on bicycles, are there any playgrounds today where families can pause playground for a minute and then get back on bikes?
I'm riding it.
Because you can't ride a bike at Wills Park.
I don't think there is, no.
I will tell you, as a mom, as a citizen, that would be very much a consumed feature from my age of family, that sometimes you need to rest all your body parts that have been sitting a while, and also bribe your children. If we make it to the next stop, you can stretch your legs on a playground.
So as you were talking, I was trying to bring the area up. Okay, so now that's as currently designed. So, yeah, I don't think, Eric, can you think of any other playgrounds? There's not another playground.
There's not.
that's on the Greenway. No, I didn't think so. I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing one in my head. So, no, you're correct.
Okay.
So does this new plan then eliminate the skate park too, because now we're just an event venue?
No, the skate park stays. Skate park is number 12 on here. It would stay. So,
Director Rogers, do you think with the 103 that we have now, plus the additional, I think 50 plus, 50 or 60 plus the 100 next door, is that going to solve the parking problem?
for most of the events, now I will tell you it won't be for all of them. Like a good example is looking back just on the last couple of months.
Grill Fest?
You know, what would you say?
The Grill Fest? I don't
No,
know.
the one before that. Shamrock and Procure. Thank you, Christine. Shamrock and Procure. That particular venue used a shuttle, and this would have helped them, but they just still had to probably park some off. What this particular drawing would do is help with the music venues, particularly the Home by Dark. This would give them sufficient numbers to go up to about 400 people at their concerts, and that's what they think the max for their concert
So
would be.
that would be the 200.
Excuse me, Mr. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry. And so that 250 would cover the 400 people in attendance for that.
Right.
And possibly this 160
Possibly.
would do
Yeah.
it.
But I can't be for sure for that, but I could speak. And then the Grill Fest, it would handle the Grill Fest, because the Grill Fest event, people came for a couple hours and then they left. So there was a good flow of parking. So there would just be a couple events that there would be overflow.
Where do
need
they
for this.
park in those situations, those 2 or 3
Yeah,
a year?
well, if currently, if the event says they're having more than we have parking for, then we make them do a parking plan, which includes a shuttle, either over at Starbucks or one of the businesses
areas.
on Windward, and then bus them in. And that's, I don't know, I think Shamrockin did that. Yeah, Shamrockin actually had us set up a shuttle service.
Okay. And they are responsible for setting that up.
They're responsible for that.
And how far is the walk from Starbucks to Union Hill Park? It's a quarter mile, it's a half mile?
Between a quarter, probably press just a little past a quarter of a mile down, and there's sidewalks.
And there's sidewalks, and there's lights, and there's
Yeah.
crosswalks.
Yeah.
So I went to the Union Hill presentation where the community gave feedback, and none of them said more parking.
No.
They all wanted
Oh.
space. All the neighborhoods nearby that came in, they had great ideas. And now if we're looking at not considering their input at all and going ahead with a parking lot, I feel like we're not listening to what the people that we asked their opinions of shared. How, like, would we want to then bring this back to them, or is this a decision that's made and then we roll it out?
Well, that would be a decision council would decide whether they wanted to go back to public input or not. I would tell you that, looking back at those numbers, the number one request was the skate park. That was the number one request that we got. And so we're doing that. And then number two request of that was access to the Greenway. They wanted adequate access to the Greenway. The playground was certainly something that several people talked about, but it was not one of the top things that were talked about at the public meetings.
And the closest park we have to here would be Windward.
Would be Windward Community Park.
Right. And the apartments, we said, they have their own
Yeah.
parks inside their
The
complexes.
apartment that is right across the street, they have all the amenities. They have a playground, they have swimming pools and all like that, but they do have a playground on site.
And do we have a general idea how far Windward is away? Mile and a half, 2 miles?
I'd use the Cheryl Rand method of seeing it in my head. If that's a quarter of a mile, then that's probably a mile and a half. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Director Rogers, is that what we're calling him tonight? Morgan, so how many of these Home by Dark events are there?
Currently, there are 8. But again, the idea is that we want to do more than that at this venue. We want this to become an active venue. We want to try to move the folks that are trying to have fundraisers and those kind of things, we're trying to push them to Union Hill rather than Brook Street or somewhere downtown or Wills Park. We're trying to push them out there. Not push them, we're trying to, yeah, I forgot this is recorded. We're not trying to push them when we're trying, Union Hill, we're trying to show that it is an option that is easier contained, particularly if you're doing a music concert or some kind of fundraiser. It's easier to contain that event at Union Hill than it is in some of our open parks.
And just for me again, if nothing's being done there, it's the covered arena's open and for whatever purpose somebody wanted to go
Absolutely.
and do a family picnic and put,
Yes. Skating. Yeah,
blankets down on the
Can't
concrete
do-
and do
Can't
whatever.
take your car in there and do
Right.
donuts.
But are they still skating there?
Yeah.
Skating
Yeah.
still going on?
They are.
Okay, okay.
There's plenty of parking to go skating.
Okay.
How many folks have Home by Dark hosted? I didn't know they wanted to go to 400. I thought they wanted to keep it small and intimate.
Well,
That was the concept.
So the way it is currently, right now, they do 250. They do it on one end.
Right.
And Mr. Castro says that if he takes it and flips it where they do it, the stage on the long end rather than the short end, then he can have that same feel for about 400 people. Other than, that's just, he doesn't want to get any bigger than that.
Is it possible to bring this to a workshop, or do we have to vote on this tonight? I don't know how it works.
Well, I think that city council's pushing on this, aren't they?
We haven't, it has not been, they workshop it, but it has not been given a date to go back to them, so. I can take whatever direction the commission gives me and share that with the council and see what they want to do.
Morgan, can we talk money for a minute? So budgeted at 2.9 as we see the,
This plan that you're, I don't know if you're looking
Yep,
at it now.
we're looking at it.
That is estimated by the architect firm, the design firm, to be $2.9 million.
and so the delta of 0.4,
We have 2.5 currently in,
that's right.
yeah. in
And
this.
so that gap of 0.4, are we saying taking out the playground, the shade area?
We have not value engineered that. Something would have to go. Something in the green would have to be reduced to get to the 2.5.
Got it.
But it could be done at another time,
Yeah, it could. It could be.
right?
fixed.
If like,
Absolutely could.
you know,
Absolutely it could be. But we haven't.
unless
done
you make it a
that.
parking lot and then you can.
We haven't done that exercise yet.
Got it.
So we're kind of waiting on this. If the original design is what is the direction we go, then we'll have to value and engineer it down to 2.5.
Do we have other questions?
I do. I guess who was the original constituency who wanted the change for parking? Is it truly the park services, or is it the vendors who are renting the space? Is there a background on that?
Well, the request to me came from Councilman Heights. He's the one that asked me to look into this for more parking because he saw the events that he was going to at Union Hill being bigger than what the parking could handle.
And he can't walk a quarter mile? Sorry.
Your mic is on, Cheryl.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion for this item?
I have nothing to say
Can
about
be
this. Nothing
to
good.
move forward with it, it can be to defer it, it can be,
You guys are what do we have to do here tonight?
Commissioner, the chair is correct. Your options, you can approve, you can recommend approval, you can recommend denial, you can request a table, you can request to defer. Any of those are certainly fine. I heard reference to a possible interest in workshopping the item. If you would like to workshop that, then you would defer the item and request that it be placed on a workshop, on a future agenda for the commission. Any of that is certainly open, however you'd like to proceed. Was that any help at all?
No, that's perfect. That's what we needed. So what do you guys think?
I was hoping
Do I have a motion?
Well, I'm looking.
I was hoping to discuss it in a workshop and come back if there's no rush for time. Maybe we come with the same plan, maybe we don't, but let's talk about it.
Fair enough.
Somebody give me a motion.
I make a motion to defer this topic for a future rec meeting.
Workshop, yeah.
Do I have a second?
I would suggest that you give us a date, so that,
Oh, for the next one, as long as we have a workshop this month. Yeah.
We will have one if we
Okay.
have.
If this is our item, then
Yeah.
we'll have.
So,
yeah.
yes, to the next meeting then.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion to defer this item and a motion to second this item. Can we please vote to defer?
That's,
This is a vote to defer.
okay.
Do we have to say May 25th workshop or whatnot?
To the next workshop, yes. Yes. Thank you, Brad. Okay. This motion has passed. We're going to defer this to the May 25th workshop. And
we'll get it added on there, and if there's any additional information that you want or would like to see, let me know. We'll get that ready for that.
would you do, one thing I think for everybody has brought up the public meetings we went to, if you could just give us those retallies, just so we can see how many people had requests for different things out
Okay,
there.
sure. Okay, we've got that information. We can
Okay.
certainly
Okay.
send that back out.
Thank you.
We're
The
g-
minutes from those meetings would be helpful.
Well, these
Yeah.
were just, were minutes taken?
I mean, it was public comments, right?
It was, they had like meetings
It was a
at
public
Union
meeting.
Hill where people came, so nobody was
Yeah.
taking minutes. I think it was just a list, yeah. They had like a board and people gave their comments.
There
I don't
there
think there were
may
minutes.
have been, if memory serves, there may have been some online surveys done in addition.
There
And if
was.
so, we would be able to capture
There
those.
was.
And then we did put together a report that captured all of the comments.
Right,
That
exactly.
was what I remember, was
Yeah.
everything encompassed into one report. so-
Like a Ninja, there was big requests for like teen
Right.
gear.
Yeah, I remember that. Also, for the workshop, to prepare, would it be possible to have suggestions, and if you were to value engineering this, what would we have to do in order to make it work? If it's either, if it's very binary, then we can't really,
If we do that, then it's gonna start eating into the money that we have. So if we ask them to do this, then it's, yes.
We're gonna spend more
do that,
money asking for
but I-
the architectural firm to come back and VE this thing.
Right.
got it.
So that
But-
money will,
And I doubt that could be done by the workshop.
in 2 weeks.
I doubt we could go back to them and say, okay, because this has kind of been on hold for a little while, so for them to ramp back up.
But you and Kurt have a good idea of what costs and where money could be saved. I mean, I don't think you're looking for the architect, right? I
Right,
think
yeah.
he's just looking, maybe you and Kurt could just give us an idea?
Okay,
Okay.
we'll give you our best.
I also have a request.
For the record, we'll give you our best guess.
Fair enough, yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Do we have something from what's the amphitheater called now? It's not the Verizon.
Amaris.
Ameris, that shows how far the parking is from the venue there? Like how far people walk when they pay to park at Ameris?
We can help you with that, Morgan.
Okay.
Well, because people pay and they park in this parking deck that's like far, and they still park and walk, and we could have like VIP parking next door, and then Mr. Hypes could park there, and the rest of us could just walk.
You had to, didn't you?
I had to say it. I'm sorry. I had
Okay,
to say it.
thank you, Maureen.
All right, thank you.
Just for the record, the next meeting is scheduled for May 29th.
29?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One more
Thank you.
request on this. How do you want to distribute the questions if we have additional questions between now and set a date? Is it Friday you need questions? I mean, I've got other things I think in my mind, so.
So if the workshop is on the
9th.
29th, so by the 27th, if we have any questions, that gives us.
Okay, I
Give
do
us a
it way
couple
before, I'll do
days.
it way before then. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do it, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think that date will work.
Morgan,
We could,
the 27th is actually Memorial Day,
okay,
right? So at the latest, you'd want it by the Friday before that.
yeah,
And really, the Wednesday or Thursday would
Thursday
be
before.
better, because if we have to research anything,
okay.
right?
So what's that Thursday?
So Thursday would be May 23rd.
23rd. And I think the dates will work because there's only, the next council member meeting is the 20th. We're not on that agenda. So the next possible one would be June the 3rd.
Okay.
That even if that's, I don't know, I'm just saying that's the next meeting. So I know that there'd be time for, we could get the workshop in there so that a recommendation can go up to mayor and council.
Not from a workshop.
You can't vote during a
Well-
workshop. We could advertise a special meeting if you want to be able to vote at that. We could advertise it as a regular meeting. Well, it would be a special called meeting because it's a different date. And you would be able to vote then. It's all in how we
Well, let's see.
Advertise.
Let's see if this is gonna land on their agenda on the meeting before ours. you know.
Okay.
And if it does, we will call for a special meeting. It'd be nice. There's 5 of us here this evening. If we had, 8 or 9, would be nice to
Okay,
workshop.
All right, we'll
this
check all
thing,
that out.
get
Yeah,
a
I'll
few
get that
more
back out
opinions
to you.
on it. And
Okay.
if we need to call a special meeting or vote, we can do that.
right,
Okay?
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff presentations. Amanda? You gonna do? Kim?
But I think I'm next. Is that right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, all right. Okay, Amanda's is a written report, so.
So it's a written report. We look at it. We'll move on to cultural services.
Good evening. We go through some monthly highlights and things that have been happening. We have an art garden. I know I've probably mentioned it before, but behind the art center. And we do exhibits. It's a very community-oriented. It's not showing, I'm sorry. Oh, it's not? Just share the screen. I'll go ahead and tell you about it. So we had a Girl Scout troop come in and they earned some badges and they planted flowers around our art in the art garden. So if you can, come back there and take a look. Thank you. What did I do?
Take that down so you can use it.
There you go.
Okay. So if you can, come back there and take a look. Quite frequently, we'll take Art Studio on the Go-Go, our little vehicle out, and we'll do art in the community, and then we come back and display it as a gallery in the art garden. So it's always changing, so it's a fun thing. Let's see, for some reason, this is not, there it goes. Okay. The Visitor redesigned. If you remember, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but we unveiled this sculpture. It was a beautiful day. We had a great time. And I wanted to show some photos of this. The artist spoke. The artist, it has a chemist and an artist, which we couldn't have had a more perfect person for that sculpture because the sculpture had started disintegrating. It was fiberglass and it really wasn't designed to be outside. And so she rebuilt it. It's sturdy, it's designed to be outside, and then she redesigned the painting. This is kind of a rare situation. We normally would not redo a piece of artwork like that, but we did call the artist and got permission, and they were too far away to do it, so they said, please do. One feature of this I wanted to share is that we added a QR code. The bear is the first one on our art walk, So you can actually scan, and it'll bring up the story map, and it'll take you through. Oh, my, okay, I thought something was not showing on the screen here.
Nope, just move that microphone a little
So it'll take you through the art walk downtown. This shows our permanent art pieces. It shows private-owned art pieces. If you go on our webpage and search art and culture Alpharetta, it'll pull up. You can look at story map, and please take a look. It's actually really kind of neat. You'd be surprised. I think right now we have about 42 pieces on there. Alpharetta Music City, we have 36 bookings to date. I'm sending out this reminder, if you're looking for something to do, please pop out, look at the live music calendar. We partner with the Alpharetta Convention and Visitors Bureau and take a look there. We've been getting some new partners recently. At the Ginger Room, we had a violinist that was playing recently, and just please go out and enjoy those. The Alpharetta Storytelling Festival, that was at the end of April, and this was part of our Art Leader Group program funding that we give them. We partnered with the Friends of the Library, Friends of the Alpharetta Library, and they partnered with the Alpharetta Library and us, and they did a storytelling festival, which was neat. The event rentals at the Alpharetta Art Center. Pretty full calendar. We're actually renting it a good bit right now, so we're thrilled about this. We have anything from a high school prom. We had it recently, that was like 2 weeks ago. We have Juneteenth coming up at middle of June. So please come out. We have some free performances. The Metropolitan Ballet will be performing on the terrace. Tomorrow we are launching the Cultural Arts Master Plan. We've been trying to work on this for a little while, and I'm so excited to have the consultant out, and we're going to do our first planning meeting tomorrow. So we'll keep you posted. We'll be doing some surveys, and be announcing some meetings and getting your input, public input. So I just wanted to let you know that we'll be launching that. Paint the Town, just ended. It's not, well, officially the painting part of it ended. But the gallery exhibit is still up at the Art Center through June 8th. So if you have not seen any of those, please step out and take a look. These are some paintings from last year. They are for sale. This is an event that Arts Alpharetta does every year for a fundraiser. And please share with your friends. These are local paintings. It's all Alpharetta. All right, this is kind of fun for me to say. I'm talking about athletes. I'm never going to talk about athletes. Arts Alpharetta has brought in a panel of former and current college professional athletes, and they're going to share their passion for, what they do in whatever sport they're involved in, and how that is blending with the arts, and how it gives a balance with life, and how it basically, I don't know everything about it, but come out. It's on May 18th. Alpharetta Symphony will be playing at Brook Street Park here, May 27th, so for their annual Memorial Day event. This is also, as the Storytelling Festival that we mentioned earlier, we give our programming money to the Alpharetta Symphony, and this is part of what they give back as a free concert to the community. Secret Garden will be playing at the Alpharetta at the Presbyterian Church, and this is Act 1 here. And please, you can go in and buy tickets. And Juneteenth event will be at the Alpharetta Arts Center, and we partner with Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority on that event. And I accidentally left off one event that I had to write in, so my apologies, but I want to mention it. It's the Alpharetta and Old Milton County Historical Society. They're doing a Cabernet this Thursday night at the Art Center in the Black Box. Commissioner Shaq Lewis will be playing. He's a jazz musician. He'll be playing the saxophone. And he'll be talking. It's kind of neat. He'll do like little history tidbits, and he plays the saxophone, and then he leads in. So that's what the evening's about. And that's it.
Any questions?
So I know that some of the, like North Park in particular, has trouble getting people to staff their rentals. Are you having any trouble staffing? Because you had a big rental schedule
We actually had to, we've worked through that with some of our part-time staff.
Uh-huh.
So we've just had to kind of work on how to strategically schedule. We try to do like, hey, when you're hired, can you work like 1 or 2 events a month? And
Okay.
so we try to balance it out that way.
Okay, and you're not having trouble staffing it? No, not too bad?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Kim, what was some of the numbers from Paint the Town? What were some of the numbers, please? As far as participants and attendees at the reception, we intersected with soccer, so that took us, but it was great being helping to volunteer there.
Arts Alpharetta had 63 people, 63 artists painting around town. And they sold, as of today, 18 paintings, which they were thrilled about. And they had probably, I think at the reception, they thought about 152 at the reception. And we do partner with the elementary school down the street, so they let us use their parking. And it was a wonderful turnout.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Christine?
Hello again.
How are you?
Let me get this up here. Come on. All right. Okay, well, I'm up here, and I feel like every time I come up here, I'm singing the praises of my staff. And I'm just so proud of what my team accomplishes and the successes that they have. We had an event this last Thursday that I just want to sing from the rooftops, honestly. It was such a successful event, and that was Taste of Alpharetta. And I hope that some of you were able to come out to that. But it was an event that did not start off the best with the weather. And let me back up here. But it did go off, and we were very excited that by 1 o'clock the rain had stopped. This was us out in the rain at the first point of load-in. I'm training Angel and Tally to take over my corner, which I'm very reluctantly giving up because I've stood there for the last 6 years getting people in and out. But we had to send out a weather update. We worked with one of our coordinators who manages the rain outline, and we're able to incorporate that into people's abilities to check on updates. And it worked out great. By 1 o'clock, like I said, it was not raining anymore. Things were starting to dry up. And we ended up having the sun come out, and it was a beautiful event. We had great signage all around. The Grub Bucks ticketing that we had last year, that we introduced last year, worked beautifully. We had a great sales number. I'll get to that in a minute. But the signage that was around helped people get their tickets. I didn't see really long lines for ticket sales where people needed help getting their tickets uploaded. We had QR codes on all of our signage. We also had the voting for the People's Choice Awards. We had little placards at each booth as well where people could taste and then go ahead and vote. The event map was there, and also our sponsors, our biggest sponsors were on there. Angela Kraus was our biggest by far. They were our premier sponsor, and we also had Verizon and a variety of other ones out there that just made our sponsorship numbers very high this year, and we're very thankful that they were part of that. We had 3 different stages where performances were going on all day, and we had quite the lineup. I don't have them all listed on here, but we did have great entertainment going on throughout the day. This was Angela Kraus. They brought out seven different vehicles. They were beautiful. They drove them in. We placed them around. The sponsorship area was right up in the front there on Main Street, actually, or on Highway 9 with the big screen. And they even brought in, as you can see, a beautiful ice sculpture, which it was kind of good that it was cooler, so it lasted longer. But it was, they had beautiful cars all around. I don't know if they actually sold any at the event, but you could have bought one there if you wanted to. Some other sponsors that we had, Dutch Crafters, Indie House, and Verizon. Those were some of our other bigger sponsors. It seemed like everybody was out there, including the sponsors, having a great time. Again, it was a beautiful evening. We also had representation from the city. We had the Alpha Loop Foundation out there. We had My Watch Alpharetta and 911 and first aid. Thank you to our first responders for being out there for all of that. And they also enjoyed small cakes of Alpharetta and all the other food that was out there. So they had a good time too, I think. As you can see, the crowds were enormous, again, which is what we want to see. That's what this event is about. I took that one from up on the roof, overlooking the green, the town green, and it was a beautiful evening. But it was a taste of Alpharetta like I've seen in the past, and a lot of people out there, and that's what we were shooting for. So I think everybody had a great time. Kids Zone was a hit this year, I think. We had an increase, and I'll go over that number in a minute, in the sales of the wristbands. We were pleasantly surprised by it. Lots of great options for the kids in there. My favorite one is the picture on the right of the kids on the big swinging thing. Look at all their faces. They're just screaming with fun, having a great time. We also had locally grown. Kudos to Amanda for pulling together 13 booths, I believe, over in the locally grown area, full of educational, agricultural items in there. We had everyone from our farm park to UGA Extension and Alpharetta Culinary and Fulton Science Academy, all sorts of groups out there. And that area was really busy, so that was really exciting to see. So here are our stats. These are the early stats. So I think we're going to have a little bit of changes as time goes on once we get the final report. We estimated there were almost 40,000 people in attendance, 64 restaurants, which is up 4 from last year, which is great, 27 sponsors, 13 locally grown vendors. We had $270,000 in grub buck sales. That included the tickets for the food, for beverages, and for the kids zone. We had $87,000 in sponsorships, and we sold 522 wristbands for the kids zone, and we collected at the end of the night 500 plus pounds of food for second helpings. And what that company does, that organization does, is they collect the food from the vendors who participate in the program, and they take the food and they get them out they make meals out of it and get it out to people who are in need. So 500 pounds is a lot of food. That was fantastic. We were very happy to see that. We also had a People's Choice Awards where people sampled and then they could vote for their favorite. Best overall restaurant was Cattle Shed Wine and Steak Bar. The Rookie Award went to Beto's Tacos. Tried and True went to M Thai. And Best Vegetarian went to Beto's Tacos. And Best Street Food went to M Thai. So we had a back and forth with those. And if any of you had a chance to eat at any of those places, it was fantastic. So that's it for taste. Does anybody have any questions on taste? Yes, Dennis.
Question. Am I remembering correctly that in the past, sales have been in the low 100,000 ranges?
Last year it was not. Last year it was, I believe, in the low 200s.
Okay, I was just
So
remembering much lower.
it was.
I think it's great.
It was still an increase from last year, so we were thrilled to see that. But yes, I think each year, the footprint has grown. So, and then we introduced the grub bucks, which was a huge bonus, and we also introduced beverage concessions that included sodas, water, and alcohol as well. So that has increased. Okay. And the kids zone wristbands too. That helped.
And the sponsorship money, I'm assuming it was up.
It's up
from
high.
previous-
Yeah, it's up. Okay. Almost $10,000 up.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
On the app, they charge $1 per transaction this year versus last year they didn't charge at all. So and then if you reloaded, not on the app, but at the booth to get a card, there was no fee. What was the thinking?
You mean when you first loaded the money on?
Or even recharge it, yeah.
When you charge, so for example, if you charged $3, they charged you $4? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. On the app.
Okay, so that was a tax, I think, that we added on. It was a service fee. But that should have been in your overall charge at the beginning. That shouldn't have been with each transaction. I'm going to have to ask about that.
But we didn't charge it all last year. And then
Right.
if you don't use the app at all, if you just use the card, you're still paying with a credit card. There's no charge at all there. So what was the difference in charging?
It's using the app. It's using the app. It's a fee for using that app. Because we have to pay sales tax on that.
It's an app we own though, right?
No, we don't own it. We pay to use it. We don't own it. We just pay to use it, but they have a service fee attached to it. We have to pay the taxes out of it.
Got it.
That's what it is, yeah. So I'll have to check and see if it was it shouldn't have been per transaction. It should have been per first purchase, not each time you swiped your card.
No, per purchase. If I paid $50 the
Yes,
first time, I ran
yes.
out, and then like, oh, wow, it wasn't
That is
taxed.
correct.
So you put more money in, you just charge again.
It's a tax, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, and then the last few things for me. The pool is opening on May 25th, Saturday. It is looking beautiful out there. Kat has done a great job cleaning up the pool and refinishing some areas and getting her staff hired and getting them trained here pretty quick. The sharks are already in the water. We had about 4 people turn up last week, but as time goes on and it warms up, we'll have more sharks in the water. Water aerobics, fitness, senior swim, and lap swim have begun already, so we have people attending that as well. And then the last thing, oh, I'm sorry, I have one other thing on here. Just a reminder that along with lifeguarding staff and pool staff, we have summer camp staff being hired and trained the last week of May, and camps begin June 3rd. And I want to go ahead and hand this out to you. This is something that my fabulous coordinator, Angel, came up with, and it's a health and wellness, aquatics, and adult athletics. It's kind of all wrapped into one trifold, and it talks about the pool, talks about Wills Park and Explore and Enrichment and the athletic programs, and then it has the 5K series in here, and it also has a QR code that gets you to the fitness calendar. So I just want to hand this out to you so you have some information about some of that. She did a great job on it. Any questions on any of that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Eric?
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Again, we're at the end of our fiscal year, so it's not like, well, we have a lot going on, but, you know, we're at the end of the year. I was just telling Morgan I needed $7,500 today. Well, you know, it is what it is. What's that? Yeah, right. So one of the monthly highlights we had was the opening of the new dog park at Ware Bridge. And I don't know if any of you guys were out there, but, you know, Nate Hand, he's a supervisor out there. He just did a great job. He coordinated the whole thing. You know, the silhouettes, the signage that he did out there. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you've seen it, but I can't just say it. He did a great job out there getting that coordinated and finished up. Another thing we'll be working on, the fountain's been ordered, but I'll be replacing the 3-tier fountain, the crane fountain over by the corner of Roswell and Canton by Thrive. The fountain's been ordered. I'm just waiting for the install. You know, the other thing is preparation and cleanup for the Taste of Alpharetta, but it's not only Taste of Alpharetta, it's every event that we have. You know, our guys just, you know, they're here on Friday night and Saturday night. They're out here picking up, cleaning up, and every event we have, and you know, every weekend there's something going on here, so they're busy. Monthly initiatives, we're still working on some of the park lighting back here, the down lighting on the trees, you know, obviously the loop lighting, you know, outlets in the tree wells, just things like that, you know, they're ongoing, and it takes time and money. You know, the other thing we're working on now is working on towards the opening of Waters Road, so we've got a few punch list items that we're finishing up. They should be hopefully finished up tomorrow, but the grand opening's on Thursday, so, you know, so we'll see everybody there on Thursday.
What time is the grand opening?
2 o'clock, is it? Yep.
2 o'clock?
Yep. But again, that, you know, there's a lot of little stuff going on, there's a lot of big stuff going on, but the little stuff is big stuff in the end. But that concludes my report.
Well, it's not a question, but I do want to say, I drove downtown Friday morning, 7:30, didn't know event was the
Yeah.
night before. So
Oh, no. Yep.
kudos to the staff and the crews and everyone who you have doing that, because you never would have known. So that was great.
No, they did a great job.
So, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, quickly, the Waters Road, the time of that is 2:30, not 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
on Thursday.
Do we think we have parking there? I know I've got the invitation, but
Actually, we made an adjustment, and I'm going to be sending out an update. I may get it out tonight, it may be in the morning, Parking will now be at Sehan Church. They're going to allow us to use their parking, and then Morgan has arranged to have golf cart shuttles to take people from the church to the park site, or you can walk either one.
Is it less than a quarter mile?
It is.
It's uphill.
I was going to ask about this crane fountain. Is it matching the crane fountain that's up the street?
It's actually going to be a little taller than the two that are currently there now. It's actually it's going to be a little taller than that, but I'll be replacing the other one as well. They were actually, for whatever reason, at some point somebody decided to cut them down and put them together. So, the crane fountain I'm purchasing is the exact same thing, only those were cut down for whatever reason. I don't know.
Oh,
At some point.
okay.
That was before my time.
Before your time.
Yeah.
It actually can't be. Okay.
So yeah, it's the same fountain. Thank you.
Matt,
Good evening.
how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Baseball season's come to an end, it's been a great season. Staff's done a great job working around the reins. They've been focusing on all the common areas. Like Eric says, we're kind of coming to the end of that fiscal year, so we're coming in on fumes, but we're spending it wisely. We started on the, let me back up. We had an outdoor classroom that was in the Grove area behind the community center. And that area really wasn't getting used at all, ever. So what we decided to do is take that fence down and turn that into a play area, additional play area. So it'll have some natural features like logs, stone. It's shaded, so it's going to help with the summer camps coming up. It's also going to help just with park users during the summer. So we'll be also expanding the border for the Kings Ridge Playground. We've added an element there, and then also just expanding that footprint. So we're going to, I think I've told you all this in the past, but we're going to try to utilize those areas just for when we close Wacky World down. So staff did an excellent job finalizing the details at Mid-Broadwell Park, which is now open. And it looks great. So every single time I've been over there, it's being used. The playground is pretty special, so it's got a great feel to it over there. We've got a few other additions that we'll be adding over the course of the next few weeks, but it turned out really well. The Equestrian Center's been in full swing. As you know, the rodeo came in town, and now they're gone, so it's all cleaned up, and we'll see them next year. But all the horse shows have been very well attended. So that concludes my report. We're pretty much in full swing. So, any questions?
Did we ask Amana if they wanted to help fund any of this improvement to that Kings Ridge playground, or have they not been interested in doing that?
So they're coming to the end of their school year, and I know Christine and I will be working with them, but the overall footprint, we're kind of going to do that. That's kind of on us.
Okay.
So we're building in some room to add some additional components if they want to make
Help
that
with
contribution.
That. Yeah. Are we gonna ask, or we're not even gonna bother?
It's in process.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And this place where you're taking the fence off, there were benches in there, right? And like a platform. I think the idea was to do maybe small performances. Anyways.
Yeah.
What's leaving? Is everything leaving there?
So all the benches were rotten.
Yeah.
And all the bases were rotten. So all those have been removed. The stage was still in good shape. So what we're going to do is basically use that and take some components from Wacky World when we close it down and bring those over. So we're able to kind of repurpose that and almost make it a small little stage. Nothing for any kind of performances, but just, just for the kids.
Okay.
Just, are you done?
Yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah. As far as Mid-Broadwell Park, wow, so much joy, so much use. The parking, I see people walking there, biking there. There's 5 to 7 cars in that parking lot nonstop. to see families' reactions as they come is just so rewarding and just awesome to see it come to reality. So thank you to everyone who persevered through that project.
It was worth the wait. For sure.
It's really rewarding to see it now being loved. So well loved that I have some parts of the park with me in my purse. That I wanted to make sure didn't get lost because it wasn't vandalized, it's just used. So want to make sure those get to the appropriate people.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Rogers, are you going to do the senior operations manager report?
Kind of fold that into my report. So I brought pictures tonight, because everybody knows I like pictures. Let's see if we can. Don't like computers. Okay. So we'll talk about a couple of things that have already been talked about. Some of the highlights from the past month. The ribbon cutting at Mid-Broadwell was a lot of fun. It was a perfect day, and I know several people in the crowd were saying, finally. I heard that a couple of times in conversations. But so finally, Mid-Broadwell is open. It's just a nice community park. You know, it's got the water feature. It's got a nice little restroom. It's got a walking trail in the back, and it's just really is what a community park ought to be, because nobody's going to drive from, Waters Road to come to Mid-Broadwell Park, and that's okay because we're getting ready to open a park over there. So it's a nice community park, and reports that I get by people who drive by there say there's always 3 or 4 cars there. So it's a nice park. We were real proud of that. The other thing that was mentioned was the Webb Bridge Dog Park. We did a ribbon cutting on that very recently, and the turnout was good. Lots of four-legged friends as well as folks there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a fun ribbon cutting, and as Eric said, Nate and his crew, and Nate's the guy on the right with the sunglasses. That's his dog, yeah. And Nate and his group do a great job. Yeah. I'll tell him he said that. So it turned out really well, and it's now a dog park on the east side of town, so we're real proud of that. The other ribbon cutting that happened recently was the Mansell Road boardwalk connecting underneath Mansell Road to the Greenway, and you can see that. You can see it goes to the right, and then it goes back up to the left. That was all wooden before, and it was rotting, and we were literally, on some instances, replacing wood for the 4th time on this particular phase. So it turned out really well, and it is that is being used as well. We also had the go-away party for Wacky World. I just love the shot from the drone. We had a good party. I will tell you now that officially Wacky World is going to close on Tuesday, May the 29th. Okay, immediately after Memorial Day, we're going to close the park. It's going to be a couple of weeks before it's actually demoed, but as was said earlier today, we're going to steal some things from Wacky World that we can use in some other places, and make sure that we get the pickets off and all like that people want. We got to close it down to 29th. So you got to, what is that, 10 days maybe? About 10 days to enjoy Wacky World before it will be gone forever. But we had a good party. Just to remind commission members, if we are still trying to raise money, we're closing in on that $500,000 mark for Wacky World. We would like to get to $750,000. So just remind folks that if they want to make a donation, they can do that. If they want to volunteer their time, they can do that. And then I'll remind you that there is a concert coming up on Saturday, May the 25th. That is a benefit exclusively for Wacky World. So if you haven't bought your tickets for a table or a seat at the table, I encourage you to do that. Now, for full disclosure, It is not a ticketed event. You can come to the concert even if you don't pay for the seat on the lawn, but if you want to sit around one of the tables in the middle, you have to buy a ticket, okay? And then when you get there, if you haven't bought a ticket, then we're going to hit you up pretty hard to buy a brick or something, because it is a benefit for Wacky World. The whole reason we're doing the concert is to benefit Wacky World, not for your musical enjoyment, okay? Yeah. Yep. And then we are, on Thursday, it was mentioned, we're going to be opening Waters Road Park. It's a smaller park. The playground you see is smaller, but it was a much tighter site. Really, the only area we had to work with was where the old house was, so we slammed a parking lot in there, a restroom, a picnic pavilion, as well as a small parking lot. But I think this is Waters Road 2, so it's a very nice walking park. It's got the gravel walking trail, just like Windward Community Park does. So I think this one is going to be used by the community a little bit differently. I think people are going to leave their subdivision on Waters Road and make this the loop that they do as they're going back home. So it turned out really nice. And this is the new section of the Alpha Loop from Old Milton to North Winds. Thank you, James. North Winds, that we're going to be opening on June the 1st. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It is just really one of the prettiest trails I've ever seen. And it goes through the woods, and you quickly forget that you're still in the middle of a town, and with the traffic. Yes. Mm-hmm. You can see it is all the finishing touches are starting to be put in. You can see the railing wasn't in when we walked, and you can see the railing that is on the regular part is vertical. I mean, it's horizontal, but the railing over the bridge is vertical so that kids can't climb up it and jump over the bridge. So a lot of thought was put into this. It is, I would encourage you on the June the 1st to come out for the ribbon cutting. On that, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a couple of things I will update you on as well. We are getting ready to start the sewer project out at Webb Bridge Park, finally, I think somebody said. And we're going to be starting on that here in the next couple of weeks. And then we will be doing the turf project in November of this year. They're going to put the sewer in, then we're going to come in November. This is at the request of the soccer club because they want us to do it between seasons. They don't want us to do it in the summer because if we happen to run over, we'd run into fall. And they don't have as many options in the fall because of football. So if we're doing it in the winter and we happen to go a little longer on the spring, they can use North Park as a backup. So that's why we'll get the sewer project done, and then we'll come in and do the turf out there. Pretty excited about that project. The other projects, Old Rucker Road is, we're still going through the drawings of that, trying to get to 100% construction drawings. So we'll be putting that out to bid, we hope, before summer, with the idea that we're going to do that construction in the fall and the winter as well. I sit here each month and I'm amazed at what we're doing, what your Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Services Department is doing. And remember, folks, this is just the highlights. This isn't, as Eric was talking about, the folks that are, if it rains on Friday and you see people playing ball on Saturday, that means a couple of guys worked Friday night or early Saturday morning to get that ready. Those things don't just happen. And so, we have put together a great team. We've got our hands in just about everything around the city. As I told the group when I first got here 7 years ago, my whole goal is that for the city to eventually be working for the Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Services Department. So we're well on our way toward that. But I would tell you that our staff, that is the same number that we would have 7 years ago with all that we're doing, the same number of full-time people, is 50 people. And it is incredible what those 50 people are doing. It is just absolutely incredible. So hats off to them. They do a good job, and it's fun to be part of the team. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
I have none. Anyone?
I got questions. So the Alpha Loop that you showed us, the cool Alpha Loop, that was paid for with taxes? Or was that, like, there was, Christine showed a picture of nonprofits that were at the Taste of Alpharetta, and one of them was the Alpha Loop people. But I thought, so I wondered, what are they paying for and what are
Okay,
we
so
paying for?
the Alpha Loop is being paid for from several different sources when we talk about Alpha Loop. Some of it's private development. This particular part, Jay, you might have to help me here. I think it was T-Splice money that built this part. So it is tax money, but it's not the local tax money that did that. But what the Alpha Loop is doing is raising money for all of the bells and whistles. So more benches. They envision playgrounds along the Alpha Loop, additional signage, and they're raising money for the bells and whistles because all the city is doing is building the trail.
To add to that, I almost called it the wrong name, True North 400, which used to be the North Fulton CID, they also had funding involved in that.
So it's not much taxes, and it's mostly like exceptions that we give to developers and this North Fulton CID?
It depends on the section. This section, there is a fair amount of money from the T-SPLOST, the Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, say that 5 times fast, that was involved in this. So we really, you'll notice sometimes if you ask on a given section, how was this funded? You'll see us look at each other like, you know, a married couple who brought the brain tonight.
Right.
That's because we're literally, okay, let's figure this out. Because each section, the funding recipe is a little different. With various partners, various pots of money, there's very little of it that a single pot of money was involved.
Well, I guess, but it didn't come out of the bond, or is this part of the bond? Like, do we have to finish part of it for the bond, to meet bond requirements?
There was a bond, in the last bond that was passed, there was money allocated for the Alpha Loop, but that money has not been spent and has not been dedicated to exactly what we're going to do. Because the idea was we were going to put a tunnel under Haynes Bridge. And that has become not feasible with the monies that we've had. So no decision has been made on how to spend that money. So that'll probably go, the mayor and council have to decide how to use that Alpha Loop money, what they're going to spend it on.
Oh, so they could put it for a playground at the Union Hill Park?
No, ma'am. That money's dedicated and earmarked specifically for the Alpha Loop. Nice try.
Nice try, though. Can't hurt to try.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, that's all I have. That's all I got.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments or by the commission? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
You've got a second, so I've got a motion and a second. It has been announced, it has been moved by Commissioner
What's her name?
Pedro Ita and seconded by Commissioner Rand to adjourn the meeting at 6:41. I'll now call for a vote. Please vote. And we pass 5-0. Thank you. See you at the workshop.
So, I know the meeting's over, but I think I failed to formally. Barrasso. Bassano. I'll get it. I'm not good with those names. You know that, right, Carl? But Sarah has been now. We're in her third week, and she is fitting in well. I think she's going to be a real asset to the department, and we're excited to have her here. So